Sometimes you have to look back to move forward, back to where it all began. Most legendary stories have one beginning. Ours? It has four. The gallant pioneers. The four lads who had a dream that continues to be our reality. Our badge is the embodiment of this dream. Since 1872, it's been our legacy. Sure, it's changed over time, but what it stands for has remained the same. It's built into the fabric of our club, the fabric of our city, the fabric of the four, inspired by the first and inspired by the past. We were here before everyone else. Glasgow is our city and Ibrox is our home. Pride, loyalty, glory. But it's more than that. It signifies a way of life, the success, the legends who came, who saw, who conquered, the legends who are no longer with us, the heartache, the joy, the euphoria. From the very beginning of our story, from there all the way to here, still winning, but never standing still. A celebration of the first 150 years. This is a memento of where we were, who we are now and where we are going. Getting ready for the next chapter. Our history is our present, and thanks to the four, we have a legacy of ready.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, folks, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to the Blue Heart 1872 podcast. As you can see, the smile on my face says it all. Rangers have made it to Seville for the Europa League Final. And today I'm joined by no other than Wolf Marshall from Aberdeen, Stuart Finlay in the North England, and John McKinnon from Brisbane in Australia. Evening, guys.
Good evening, Gary.
Everybody happy? We sat last week and we talked about the game, obviously, against them last week and then moving on to last night. And now we're there. We've done it. Rangers have made it. But before we go into the last night, obviously we need to talk about the sad passing during the week of Kitman Jimmy Bell. Obviously, if anything, last night it showed, I think, that it galvanised the players and they come together and done it for Jimmy Bell. Your memories of Jimmy Bell, Stuart?
Met Jimmy several times. Twice he gave me a skull. Once I got a rare smile. I think he burnt. But yeah, the last time I met Jimmy, and I actually met Wilf on this day as well, was at Queen of the South, away at Queen of the South in the last game, second last game of the season, I think it was, Wilf.
Yep.
We played Queen of the South, and I came down to see because we were myself and Maureen were in hospitality at Queen of the South that day, and we just came down to see the lads coming off the bus and bumped into Jimmy and just said hello and that. But yeah, just a stalwart of the club.
Yeah,
the beating heart of the club.
Yeah,
and will never be replaced.
Yeah, and obviously, John, for you, Jimmy Bell.
Yeah, I met Jimmy a few times. The last time was one time I was back and Jim Hanna organised it for me to go and present our Player of the Year up at Auchenhowie. And it was Lee Wallace that won the Player of the Year. So Jim was taking us around and I was chatting to Mark Warburton and Davy Weir. They were just going out on the training pitch. And there was this, it was a hydro bath in Auchenhowie, and I sort of had a peek in this room and that room and the door of the hydro bath was open and I kind of walked in just to have a look at it. And I couldn't have timed it any better. Jimmy Bell just came out and he just says to me, "What the fuck are you doing in there?" They stared at me, right? And it was like fucking getting caught. There's a wee boy, you know what I mean, doing something, And I didn't know what he said. And I turned around and Mark Warburton says, You don't open doors in here," he says, "without Jimmy's permission." And I just apologised, and he just kind of, as you sort of said, gave us a skill, and away he went.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, Will, for you.
Yeah, I've met Jimmy. I've had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy a few times. Usually just outside grounds, a quick hello. The last time I actually spoke to him was at Dens Park earlier in the season, and he came out to give somebody tickets or whatever, and I grabbed him. I says, "Jimmy, photo with Demi, photo on my way." "I no bother," he says, and he pulled it. He was still with masks on at the time. He pulled the mask down because everybody started giving it, one Jimmy Bell, because he was, by that time, he was a bit of a celebrity. And although he tried to be stone faced, he couldn't help but crack a smile. I mean, he absolutely loved it. I mean, he tried to make out that he didn't like all the the adulation, the fact that people knew who he was, the very fact that we're mourning the passing of a kitman tells you what Jimmy Bell was to Rangers, because I couldn't tell you any other club's kitman. You know what I mean?
Well, apart from the one from across the city,
I couldn't even tell you who their kitman is, but they could tell you who their kitman is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jimmy Bell's an institution, as Stuart says, totally irreplaceable. The guy. I mean, I've heard all sorts of. I heard all stories that there was a cracker David Edgar told on Heart and Hand. If you'll indulge me a wee minute with this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
They were at a UEFA pre-match briefing the night before a European game, and the UEFA observer guy was being a bit officious and really pissing everybody off, both clubs. And he's what strips are you wearing and what training tops are you wearing, and so the colours didn't clash. And whatever it was, he went, "You can't wear that." Jimmy Bell went, "Aye, we can." He says, "Mr. Bell, you can't wear that." "Yes, we can." "Mr. Bell, I'm aware of the rules." Jimmy pulls the rule book out his pocket, went straight to the page and went, "So am I. We can wear that." And the guy went, "Aye, okay," and walked out. I mean, Jimmy knew UEFA rules better than UEFA did. I mean, he knew absolutely everything. We could never replace him. I mean, look, when I came out, I went in Ibrox last night, and across in the front of the Sandy Jardine stand, on the middle tier of the Sandy Jardine stand, there's a banner that said "Rest in Peace, Jimmy Bell." I came out the club deck, and there was a "Rest in Peace, Jimmy" banner up against the railings at the gates. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is things that fans have gone out the way to get made in a matter of a couple of days. You don't do that for a guy that's not an institution. You know what I mean? That just tells you all you need to know about the guy.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say, obviously, you've seen all the Instagram and Twitter from all the current players, ex-players, all for Jimmy Bell. Jimmy Bell was close to all the players. You've seen the video last night of big Calvin Bassey, kissing the armband, Glenn Kamara, but Jimmy Bell. But I mean, Jimmy Bell.
Sorry, Gary. There was one story Derek Ferguson told me about Jimmy, and it's always stuck with me for a long, long time. They were coming back from an away game. I can't remember if it was Hearts or Dundee United. It was a midweek game, and of course he dropped the players off at Ibrox. So he was driving the bus back to the Park to Hamilton depot. So he decided to stop off at the Chippy on the way just before the depot. So he gets into the Chippy. And then these two Celtic supporters walked in right after him. And of course, it's close to the closing time for the chip shop. And the wee lassie behind the counter said to Jimmy, "So what are you having?" He goes, "I'll have that." And he ordered everything and walked out. The two Celtic boys didn't go fuck all. He walked out, took his two sausage suppers and put the rest in the bin.
Sorry, Gary. The one I've just remembered from when they were up here, just before the pandemic, I know the guy that used to drive the bus for Rangers. Just the last kind of 3 or 4 seasons before the pandemic, he was the bus driver for Parks. And obviously, when they came up here, Jimmy always drove up the kit van separately. The kit came up separately in the kit van, and because the bus had been vandalised the time before when we were up here, when it was staying at Ardo House and they'd vandalised the bus, they spoke to Aberdeen's bus supplier, Central Coaches, who, funnily enough, the Granite City use as well, which is quite ironic.
Yeah.
Granite City Rangers Club use them. It's quite ironic. They said, "Right, we'll lock the bus in our yard." Now, their yard's in a back road just up behind Aberdeen Harbour. It's not the easiest to find if you don't know where it is. So the bus driver goes up and he parks the bus in there, and Jimmy says, "I'll pick you up." So, right, okay. So he phoned him. He said, "Right, Jimmy, you go up Wellington Road, which is the main road out of Aberdeen from the harbour. Go up out of Wellington Road. You'll see this sign. Turn left, and it's in there." And he's waiting about in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. He phones Jimmy. He says, "Jimmy, where the fuck are you?" He said, "I'm at Stonehaven." Stonehaven, 16 miles south of Aberdeen. Jimmy's missed a turn off and just kept driving. He's on his way back to Glasgow because you know what I mean, he just couldn't follow the instructions. Just ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant for Jimmy Bell. Obviously, sadly must be everybody at the club. So we'll move on, and obviously everybody's happy. Everybody's seen. Obviously, social media's been a meltdown since final whistle last night with flights. There's people going halfway around the world to get to Seville. There's fucking buses come from Glasgow for 4 days that you don't even stay in a hotel. You just get on the bus and sit on it until you get back again. And obviously, but I've got to give a shout out to John McKinnon here in this podcast. John, Brisbane,
Yes. Yep.
Flying from Brisbane to Seville.
We're flying Brisbane, Dubai, Madrid, and then we're catching 2 trains from there to Seville. So, but trains, planes, and automobiles to get there.
What an effort, John. Well done.
Quite sure it'll be like that as well.
Yeah.
People I'm going with.
Obviously, our wee friend is ready. Well, I think he's already booked anyway because he's coming my way. Derek Warrington.
Yeah, Derek.
Derek was already booked, and I had sort of just before the final whistle, or before the game actually, he put on, come on, let's do this, and I just says, remember, I'm kipping in your room.
Iron floor.
We've sorted something else out, so
yeah. Okay. Obviously, Wolf, you've booked up travel for you.
Yeah, I booked up on Monday. I took a punt on the cheapest trip I could find for me and my 19-year-old daughter who goes to all the games with me. I've been trying to get her to Europe all season, but with one thing and another, with COVID ticket restrictions and the fact that Belgrade is no place for a 19-year-old lad to be wandering about, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And flight prices going through the roof for Berlin for the home leg, away leg against Leipzig. I just haven't been able to take her, so I thought, right, we're going to do this. So Monday, sitting at work, I was on the computer, onto the flight sites, and I thought, I found this at a ridiculously cheap price, so I booked it, and and I was taking a hit. If we didn't get through, I wasn't going to use them. But fortunately, we went through, and it's ultimately saved me several £100 because the flights just went absolutely ridiculous as soon as. I got a message today from a friend of mine who said, "How'd you get to Faro?" I thought I'll have a look and tell him how the best way to get to Faro. Couldn't find a flight to Faro on the Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. I seen that last night.
From anywhere. Just ridiculous.
I mean, even the hotels. I mean, people's quoting the night on social media. Some of the hotels in Seville are asking for $6,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
It's ridiculous. If anything, I thought the hotels might have come down a bit because obviously a lot of West Ham supporters and would have been booked and then cancelled, So I thought maybe it might have knocked back a bit, but obviously it hadn't. Folks, if you're watching this podcast and you're making your way to Seville, I want to see what ways are going because I've seen some strange fixtures today where people are going.
Well, Gary, can I give you one that's appeared on my Facebook just before we went live, right? A friend of mine, he's a former Royal Marine, right? So he's used
swimming.
To,
Is he swimming?
He's used to messing about. Not quite, right? He's flying from Glasgow to Bristol. He's then getting a train from Bristol to Cardiff. He's then flying from Cardiff to Faro, getting a bus from Faro to Seville, a bus back from Seville to Faro, flying from Faro to Porto, flying from Porto to Manchester, getting a train from Manchester to Glasgow and a taxi back home.
Oh,
that's
respect. Respect. Even just for the research, respect.
That's mental. I thought mine was a bit around the houses that I'm going to France before I go to Spain, but that's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Obviously, a lot of shout-outs tonight. We'll move on to the game. So with Stephley Hanlon, Lee Shannon, Ross Golden, Alan Simpson, Kimberly Kane, Colin Nemo, Paul Beekhouse, a steward friend of yours, I'm sure. Robbie Logan, Robbie. I know Robbie well from back home in Londonderry. Andy Ferry, Paul McGarrigle. The Curry Munchers on. The Curry Muncher says Jimmy was part of Rangers as much as the foundations of Ibrox. I think you're right there, Curry. David Thomas, Graham McCallum. Evening, Graham. I think Graham's making his way to Seville as well. So many. Thomas Jones, Ed McCann. Evening, Ed. Loads. Listen. So there's Graham McCallum is booked. It's quite simple. East Midlands to Faro. Well, Graham, you should have made it a bit, put something onto that. You know what I mean? Heading out to Poland first and then coming that way. So obviously we go to the game last night, and the atmosphere. That's the first thing, because a lot of people today I've been speaking to down here, not even Rangers fans, watched that last night, and they said they could not believe the noise coming out of Ibrox last night. We've heard from the RB Leipzig coach saying that that's what drove Rangers over the finishing line, was the sheer noise getting behind the players. Stuart, what was your opinion on that last night?
First of all, I wish I'd been there. Wolf was there, but the atmosphere, even just coming through the telly, was just phenomenal. It was. I had the hair standing up in the back of my neck, getting goosebumps. Well, basically all day yesterday, but then when the coverage started on BT, it was just phenomenal. And you could feel something special was going to happen.
Yeah,
it was just like the stars were aligning. Something special was going to happen. The confidence that Alan McCoist had on the build-up was just unbelievable. It was. But yeah, I bet you that's the loudest Ibrox has ever been. At any point, there was a video on Facebook from somebody that was over by the Albion, lived just to the other side of the Albion.
I've seen that. Yeah,
and what would that be? Well, for about a good half mile, the other side of the Albion.
Maybe a quarter of a mile, maybe.
No, across from the motorway.
Yeah, I saw the video. Yeah. Maybe quarter, half a mile, something like that.
Yeah, but just the sound level coming out the top of Ibrox was just unbelievable.
Yeah. Obviously, John, for you down in Australia, what time in the morning or what way was the pig and whistle you were in, or did you watch it in the house?
Yeah, we were in. We had a good crowd in the morning. I think we had about 20 odd people in there.
Yeah.
And,
what time in the morning was it, John?
5 o'clock kickoff. So West Ham we only had about 4 or 5 yesterday, maybe 4 or 5 people in. And they must have gave up the ghost because they came in and watched the last 20 minutes. There was West Ham fans just appearing at the back,
Yeah.
So what I did was I absolutely shit myself that I was going to go tits up near the end, especially they get the corner kick right at the death.
Yeah.
And I'd gone up to the back of the lounge because I was sitting quite near the front, near the TV, and I'm up the back just to take a video of everybody celebrating when the final whistle went. And just as the whistle went, I go like that to press my phone. And one of the guys jumped on me and my phone went flying out into the walkway. And I'm going, fucking hell, try to grab the phone,
Brilliant.
But brilliant, unbelievable. And I've been buzzing ever since. Even before the game, I didn't really sleep, leading up to it. Because Stuart, and Darren were sort of on the messenger.
Yeah.
And I was waking up every hour,
And I'm not afraid to say I busted greeting at the final whistle.
Yeah, but the thing that got me about the game, right, and I know Wolf, you were at the game, and I don't know if you've watched the rerun, but it panned in on this boy in the crowd when we scored the first goal.
Oh,
this boy was just roaring and greeting,
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they go back to the boy and he's up and he's whipping it up. And we're all sitting going, this boy's going to be an absolute legend now. That scene of him crying is going to be, it's going to be folklore in years to come. We'll just keep showing it.
Yeah. Obviously, Wolf, you were there as always. We'll give you the say on the noise, the atmosphere.
It was absolutely fun. It's like something I've never experienced. I mean, I've been in Ibrox once or twice over the years, and it's I'm old enough to have done Dynamo Kiev and Leeds United, and the Parma games, all the ones that people go back and reference as being really, really loud. Now, it might be recency bias because it was only last night, but that was incredible last night. I mean, even in the build-up to the game, they turned the PA system off at 7:30 and just let the fans get on with it.
I know. It was amazing.
They agreed to do that and they did it, and it was just, the place was absolutely rocking. I mean, I've never seen it so full so early. I mean, it must have been almost fucking capacity 20 minutes from kickoff. That's unheard of. It was still full 20 minutes after kickoff. That's right after full time. That's really, but I mean, you talk about the guy greeting, obviously I didn't see it because I've not seen the TV coverage. but he wasn't the only one. I mean, I'm
No,
just
he
glad
wasn't.
that
He wasn't.
that
There was
back-
more. It should be more.
I'm just glad that that back card they've got in the club deck doesn't quite reach as far as me and CD1. The thing that whistle went, I gave Demi a hug. I hugged my mate Tommy beside me, and I just sat in the back of my seat and busted out greeting. It was just,
Aye.
it
I mean,
was just incredible.
you won't be the only one because even Ali McCoist on commentary, his voice was breaking. McCoist
Saw the footage of that. Watched that.
And we've seen him having the dance for the fans. You know, Ali was obviously when he was
incredible, just incredible.
His voice was breaking.
The display they put on the Broomlawn was absolutely fantastic last night.
It really was. It was something. I mean,
that was special.
The Union Bears do a lot of things that I don't agree with. You know, they're out there. There's flares and all that get the club European fines, all that sort of stuff. I mean, that's not for now. But the displays, they're second to none. They're absolutely. I mean, that was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You know.
Yeah. Okay, so Alan Simpson's saying he's just going to drive to Seville. Good luck with that, Alan. Good luck with that. Obviously, Ian Smith, Glasgow, Inverness, Luton, Faro, Seville. Ain't sure how we're getting home yet. Well done, Ian. Paul McGarrell says, guys, if you're driving, it's 28 hours by car. Tracy, Glasgow to Manchester to the Costa del Sol. John Lammy says, Ibrox was a man of the match last night. It eclipsed the Parma atmosphere. So many people. 18 hours drive from Hampshire to Seville. Oh, I still wouldn't do that.
You can stop off at the Jeet on the way.
Right, so here's a good question here. From I'll put it up. It's from Kimberly Keane, because a lot of people are saying this on social media. Do you think Ibrox will put the final on big screens, as I booked a hotel just in case? Is that going to happen?
I believe that it was suggested for the semi-final away leg last week in Berlin, and the board of directors apparently said no for whatever reason. But I'd be astonished if they don't put it on the screens, because I know they did it for Manchester.
Yeah, leave a fiver in front of Bisgrove's nose.
So because I mean, I can't see UEFA putting the block on it. I can't see UEFA saying no, you're not allowed to. So I would be amazed if they don't, because I mean, you're talking, what would you get in the even if you put screens on the pitch, you'd get 30 or 40,000 in there at a 5 or 10 or a skull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody I saw on social media this morning, if you wave a fiver under under James Bisgrove's nose, it'll happen. So just wave a fiver at Bisgrove.
That's what I just said.
Brilliant. Obviously, John, shout out. This is for you. Good evening, John McKinnon, Robert Miller.
Good evening, Rob. How are you? Hope you're good and behaving yourself.
I'm sure. Is that Robert Miller that used to live in Aberdeen?
No.
Because there's a Robert Miller that used to live in Aberdeen.
I believe he resides in Motherwell these days.
All right, no, he lives over here. He used to live up here.
Rob's a long-term pal of mine. We used to go to Ibrox together when we were kids, but dads as well went as well. So good to hear from him.
So Matthew 356 on YouTube saying Edinburgh. This might be your way. Edinburgh, France, Malaga, and then back to London and train back to Edinburgh from London. I know you're flying, Wolf, but that's maybe the way you're going. You're going to Edinburgh, Marseille, do you say?
I am going to Edinburgh, Marseille on the Monday evening, and then over to Malaga from there on the Tuesday. So could be very similar to the way I'm going.
Yeah. Thomas Jones says that was the best night of my life. Getting to a European final, Seville, here we come. But Seville may not be big enough for us. How many fans do we reckon we're going to take to Seville?
That depends. Are we using the Seville calculator or are we telling the truth?
Well, no, that's I threw that in. I just threw that question in because I knew that was going to come out. But what's your thoughts? I mean, I'm going to Seville, but I don't have a ticket, so there's going to be a lot more like me.
I think there'll be north of 100,000.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
there won't be as many as Manchester, because Manchester was just a drive down the road.
Yeah.
So I think
100,000
at least 100,000.
A lot of people are going to incorporate it into a holiday.
Yep, a lot of people have already booked, like the Algarve or
that's what I've done,
or the Costas or whatever for a week. And if we didn't get there, we just went on holiday. But now that we're able to go to Seville for the day, loads of people will do that. But you've also got to remember that Eintracht Frankfurt will take a hell of a lot of people there and all.
They've got a big following, haven't they? They travel well.
They took 30,000 to the new camp in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So they'll take a shitload of folk and all. Seville is not going to be big enough. Hence the reason the hotels are telephone numbers. You know what I mean?
You would like to think they've done their research, though, their due diligence before it, you know what I mean? And sort of get things ready to accommodate
John,
that.
you would have thought that about Manchester. I
know that. Surely they should be learning lessons from that. You know, they should be.
I remember driving out of Manchester. Driving out of Manchester after the game in 2008, and the Manchester, I don't know if she was the mayor or the head of their council, she was on the local radio trying to explain away what had happened. She said, well, we made provisions because we had fan zones for 35,000 people, and we had for 25,000 people, and we thought 35,000 Rangers fans would be in the stadium, and we were told there'd be about 80,000 down. I said, wait a minute, that's still 20,000 less catered for than you were expecting. And then there was another 150,000 appeared on top of that we told you were coming. So they just weren't prepared for it. But as you say, hopefully Seville have got it sorted, but it won't be big enough. It won't be big enough.
I mean, a lot of people are all saying, Graham McCallum saying 100,000 plus, Tracy 100,000 plus. Amazing support. Paul McGargle says, hope we take more than 150,000 just to beat them as well. Ed McCann has asked a question now. Ed, Gary, do you know if any supporters buses leaving from Faro or Albufeira? Ed, I don't, but that's a question I want to know. If anybody in this podcast knows anything, let me know, because I'm staying in Albufeira.
There will be plenty.
You think so?
I know there is. I've had a couple of guys tell me that's definitely happening.
From Albufeira or Faro? I know it's close.
From Faro.
Yeah. Well, Faro will be all right. That's fine. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, if you're going from Albufeira, you got to go past Faro anyway.
Yeah.
Catch them the main motorway route. Yeah.
Okay. So Ed, hopefully that will happen. And if you are in Albufeira, Ed, I'll see you there. Obviously, something that Curry Muncher's put up 9,000 tickets. It's a disgrace, right? What does the stadium hold?
43,000.
I thought it was 50 odds, but it's not.
Nah. So and it's Frankfurt getting 9,000 as well.
Well, it's Rangers were originally told they were getting 9,800, and apparently there's been 500 taken off that for segregation.
Yeah.
So you've got to assume that both clubs are getting 9,300 tickets.
And the rest
out of a 43,000 capacity stadium, that is ridiculous.
Wolf, does that include the 4,000 free tickets that were handed out by UEFA as well?
Yes. The way it's working, because I was fortunate enough to be able to buy my ticket just before I came on here tonight, because Rangers have put the process in place. You go onto the UEFA website if you're lucky enough to get the link from Rangers, and you go on and you can choose whether you want category 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's €100. I think it's €100, €80,
65
€65,
65.
€40 or something.
Yeah.
But each one of them's got the option to buy a slightly cheaper ticket that's restricted view. Or you can plump for one of the free tickets, but they're all restricted view. And apparently the free tickets are really, really restricted view. Now, the 4,000 free tickets is great from UEFA, but why would you have a major European final in a stadium where quite a lot of it appears to be restricted view? That doesn't make sense to me. Have it in a stadium where you can sell tickets, because they're selling tickets at a premium price. And they're saying to people, by the way, you can get a ticket slightly cheaper, but you don't be able to see anything. Why would you want to do that? You know what I mean? UEFA must, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah. So you're saying 9,000 tickets. So this is 9,000 tickets that Rangers have actually been given to give to fans.
Yes. But I believe it's also, but I'm sorry, Gary, I believe that also that 9,000 is included, and that's what they use for their corporate clients, what they use for the staff.
Ah, right, get you now, right? Yes.
Players' tickets, all that. So there'll probably be maybe 6,500 less, possibly, depending on how many they take off for that.
Yeah,
and then they're looking at running 5 or 6 club flights. So there's another 1,500 tickets away if they sell them. Because obviously, if you go on an official club flight, you're guaranteed a ticket. So you could be looking at 4,500 independent tickets, possibly.
Yeah, but see to get on the official club flight if you wanted to go. Yeah, you have to be a MyJares member.
You do.
Right, okay.
Unless they don't sell them, and I don't think they'll sell out 6 flights, which is what I believe they're looking at.
Yeah.
Well, I seen it
They may
today.
then just make it a general, if you want a seat, you can get a seat, because they want to sell them out, won't they?
Yeah, but I seen it today. A company charging £1,000 day trip return, no ticket.
The Rangers day trip, £719
What a ticket!
with a ticket. You're guaranteed a ticket if you're on that flight, and it's £719 for the flight.
Is that through CTM again? Both.
That's through CTM again, yeah. But to be fair to them, I was speaking to folk yesterday that go with sports options a lot, and sports options who do independent travel for football fans had emailed everybody yesterday on their mailing list and said, if Rangers and or West Ham get through, because they do flights for West Ham as well, we will be running flights, but they will not be cheap.
Yeah.
So people have been pre-warned that the flights weren't going to be cheap.
Yeah, okay. Obviously, Robert Miller says, John, remember your dad, John, taking me as a kid on the bus for the caravan bar?
Carnarvon, but it was called.
Oh, Carnarvon, I thought it was Caravan.
Yeah. No, the supporters club was the Cameron Loyal,
Right.
and it was a colourful bus. Let's put it that way.
I'm sure it was. Loads of stuff, loads of questions coming in, but obviously last night, whenever I got to the stage where we were 1 each before McGregor pulled off a wonder save again.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
You know, what is Griggs? Is he 40? Is he 40 yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
40 and going to the European Cup final. Unbelievable. But that save, that save last night, amazing. Kept us on it again. But then,
or possibly even better than the one against Werder Bremen.
yeah. Kimberly Kane says Ibrox Bar and Benidorm was running the bus from there.
Yeah, that was John and Wilma. John and Wilma will run a bus from there. They're actually from Corby. I know John and Wilma will.
6 hours the bus from Benidorm. Obviously, we the game last night, but the winner from John Lundstrom. Now, I just wish Darren Hosey was on this podcast tonight.
I've already messaged him.
Have you? Good.
Yeah.
Good. Because no matter what John Lundstrom does, Darren doesn't accept that John Lundstrom's a Rangers player. But last night, John Lundstrom covered every blade of grass in that pitch. Unbelievable.
There's a quote out there. I can't remember who done it, and it's all about Kante. And it was there is a landmass that covers a third of the earth, and the rest is covered by Kante. You can say that about Lundstrom now because he just covers everywhere.
Unbelievable.
I don't think there was any blade of grass in the Ibrox pitch last night that he didn't walk over or run over.
I don't think there's ever been a bigger turnaround in a player at Rangers.
Yeah, and we were all of the same opinion.
In January, I would quite happily put John Lundstrom in my car and said, right, where the fuck am I dropping you off?
Yeah.
Just make sure it's far away from Ibrox because you're just not good enough for us, son. I'm sorry. But he's turned that around.
Is that a case of... Has he turned it around, but because playing under Gio van Bronckhorst? Is it Gio has changed that for him? Why this? The change has been massive. Lundstrom's the first name in the team sheet now. Well, one of the first names.
I think it might be the system he plays. I don't know. I mean, it's quite strange because Lundstrom came here because of Steven Gerrard, because he was Steven Gerrard's boy.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. It just didn't seem to be working for him. But whether he took a while. I mean, we always say, it's a heavy jersey to wear, and it takes a lot. Some players, it takes them a long time to settle. He maybe just had a bit of that. Try to find his form because he had a poor season last season at Sheffield United. But I mean, the change in the man since January to now is just incredible. And he gets it. He seems to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, the videos of leaving the Chamber of Secrets last week, and they were all throwing abuse at him.
That swagger.
He just swagger past him. You know what I mean? Just he gets it. He absolutely gets it.
Do you think, Wilf, it could be something that Gio's actually just stepped back and just analysed them and said, right, I can utilise this and give him the confidence to go out and play in that whatever role he's asked to do?
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, we talked in recent times in this podcast about a few weeks ago about the amount of players will be exiting Ibrox. Now, last night, after what I've seen the final, I don't think anyone will want to leave Ibrox. I really don't. I mean, we talked about people like Glenn Kamara. We probably shipped out. Glenn Kamara was fantastic last night. He's now going to play in a Europa League final. We bought him for 50k.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it may depend if we win that Europa League final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but right. So if we won that, we go straight into the Champions League. I'm correct, haven't I?
Yes.
Pot 1.
Yep. Yeah. So that's going to change a lot of, contract business, I suppose. The money coming in.
Yeah.
But last night, every one of them players give everything last night. I mean, Big Bassy, unbelievable. How that boy was the unbelievable. He just powered through them.
Even the players that weren't at the top of their form last night, and it's another one of Darren Hosey's ones, young Scott Wright. Even though I think some things didn't happen for him last night, it didn't stop him trying it. He still kept him going. And that's what we want to see in a Rangers player. If things don't happen, you just keep going at it.
Yeah.
And I thought Scotty played not too bad last night. Couple of heavy touches at certain times. But yeah, credit where credit's due.
What was your thoughts on Ryan Kent last night?
My thoughts. Brilliant.
I'll give you all a few on that. So, Stuart, Ryan Kent last night?
He looked up for it last night. He really did. There was that sparkle back in his eye, and the confidence seemed to come through with him. And that cross in for Tav to score the first goal, was absolutely subliminal.
And I don't know where. I don't think Wolf probably didn't see it, but when the final whistle went and the camera went under Ryan Kent's face, you could see the look. It was like, my God, we've done it. We're there.
It was just the way he was looking. He was looking at them, going,
"Yeah." John, for you, Ryan Kent last night.
I thought he was very busy in the game, but one thing I thought at times his decision making was poor. There was a couple of times he got the ball quite near the end of the game, and he could have taken it into the corner, and he sort of dilly-dallied on it, and they took the ball off him. Because I was screaming at the TV in the pub, I was like, "Fucking keep the ball!" We keep giving the ball away. And there was a little bit in the game that we panicked a bit. We were just fucking hoofing the ball whatever way we were facing, and it was just going straight to a Leipzig player, and they just kept coming at us. But it's understandable. I know. Again, I keep going back to Morelos. If I had Morelos and we were putting those balls out for the defence, he's going to hold the ball up and get us out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we've got to sort of go with what we've got. And to a man, we did it. The boys were brilliant. But sometimes we need to just go. You know what? We're Rangers. We're keeping this ball. You're going to have to work hard to get it off us.
Well, for you, Ryan Kent last night.
Yeah, he wasn't as good as I've seen him, but yeah, he certainly didn't let anybody down last night. I think it was one of them that everybody was sort of working for each other last night. As John said, there was quite a few stray passes at times, and you weren't the only one shouting, "Just keep the ball." I mean, we gave the ball away far too cheaply at times. Yeah. I mean, when they scored to bring it back level on aggregate, they were all over us like a cheap suit, and I thought we're going to blow this year. I mean, it's just it was looking like we were sitting too deep. We were just, as John said as well, we were just throwing the ball up the park, and there was nobody there to get it. If Morelos is playing, he at least gets the ball, holds onto it, wins us free kicks, wins us throw-ins, gets us up the park. It was nothing. It was just like a wave of ball coming at us for about 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But we rode the storm when we got back into it, and then when Big Scouse John scored that third goal, it was absolute chaos.
Obviously, we lost Aribo just before it was half time, wasn't it? He took one full in the face. How do you think he was doing up until that? He missed a golden chance to make it 3-0.
Yeah, I actually owe Joe an apology because I thought he was at it. See, when he got hit in the face with the ball, I went.
So did I. I was the same as you. I thought he just wanted off because of the miss.
Stopped. And then all of a sudden, I went, hold on, that's serious because he was out. He was out. He looked he was out of the game. He was playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea how he missed that chance that you talked about, but he was playing well. And the last couple of games when I've asked him to play up front, it's looked like he hasn't really fancied it because it's not really his game.
Yeah.
You know, when they played him as the false nine, as they call it, he doesn't really fancy it. You know what I mean? On Sunday, the East End on Sunday, it wasn't working for him because I don't think he really knows how to play that game particularly well. But he did. He was doing great last night until he got that one in the face. But as I say, I thought he was at it. And then the stretcher came on and went, okay, maybe it's a bit more serious than it looked.
He wasn't.
What a noise it made when the ball hit his head. Oh dear.
He took that full in the face, you know,
He did
venom in that shot. So obviously going forward now, what are we saying about who will Gio rest? What will happen? Will he? Will he? What I'm trying to say is, is he going to leave Tavernier out? Is he going to play him? Is he going to play Goldson, McGregor?
We had this conversation last week, and how wrong did we get it?
I know. This is a different ball game now. Here, you know, we're heading to the final. So Gio's got a big decision to make.
I think
players
some players will get rested. You know, he's got to sort of protect Ryan Jack, guys like that. They're only maybe only playing for an hour. They bring in guys like Stephen Davis, I think, Arfield and the likes for some of the league games. Because let's face it, the league's finished. It's gone. And we do have bigger fish to fry than the SPL. You know.
Yeah, would you be up for the likes of Alex Lowry starting the game now?
Yeah, Leon King, McCausland, Charlie McCann, get them all out.
See that? I would say yes to that, Stuart, but that depends on how they get on tomorrow against Hearts. Because if a miracle happens and Hearts,
that's right. It's a
yeah.
Sorry,
if a miracle happens and Hearts beat them tomorrow, and it's back to 3 points, then. If we beat Dundee United, then put the full team out and get the points. But it probably won't happen. They probably will clinch the title tomorrow. And if we do that, we can basically play the youth team in the next 3 league games because it won't really matter.
The only thing is with resting players, you can't have them inactive for 2 weeks. You know.
Yeah, I know. No, you wouldn't. That's the worst case scenario. You wouldn't do that. I mean,
maybe dip 1 or 2 out and put them back in the next game. And
we've got Ross County on Wednesday night as well, so we can. Yeah. You know, you can probably rest a few on Sunday. Put them back in on Wednesday. Rest them at Tynecastle.
Yeah, and
then they've had a whole complete week off.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, I wouldn't expect if the league's already officially away, which it will be, by the last game of the season at Tynecastle, I wouldn't expect to see very many of the first team players playing at Tynecastle because you can't take a risk on them 5 days before a European final. You just can't.
Obviously, we've got to give a shout out to whoever's in charge of fitness at Ibrox as well. My God, I mean, Nick Rangers went through two games with extra time. Last night,
it's Craig Flanagan. It used to be. Craig was he played at Rangers back in the 9 in a row days.
He did.
He's a sports science.
Wow. Well, what a job. What a job, because, I mean, like last night, the energy levels last night, right up to the 90th minute, you know, non-stop. And also, I mean, we talked in this podcast, obviously, Gio came in, we all wanted Van Bronckhorst to come in. Obviously, the league, as you say, probably gone. He's thrown that. And then there was all this negative stuff about Gio. But all of a sudden now, are we starting to see Gio putting his mark on the way the team's going to play, and the players buying into what Gio's telling them to? Are we seeing that? Because I see a big difference in Rangers this last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, well, what you've got to remember, Gary, they're not his players, right? And he's wanting to play a different way, and they've hardly had a training session because they're playing every other day, so they're having no time on the training pitch, you know, to get to play the way he wants. So you've got to think, when he's had a whole summer with whatever he is still here, and he brings in his own players, that's got to augur well for next season. It really has.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously he knows the European game better than he knows the Scottish game, so he can set up systems in Europe.
That's what I was going to say to you about. I was going to say to Stuart there about the setup. I mean, like in Europe, Gio has been fantastic. I'm going to come up with this bit of a question here, but do you think if Steven Gerrard was still in charge of Rangers, we are in Europe where we are?
Nope.
Now that's a bit. But, I mean, but you got to remember is Steven Gerrard wouldn't change the formation and stuff. He would just go with that was it.
Yeah. That should. But Gerrard got us so far in Europe, and I think we just needed that little bit extra European nous to be able to progress further. And fair play to Gio. Gio's actually brought that to us. But you've got to give a lot of respect to and plaudits to the players, because the players they've given absolutely everything. So maybe it's from Gio actually putting that foundation in the European stage because of his knowledge of the European game.
Yeah.
And then letting them go out and play to the tactics that he's put out at times. There's one thing you cannot fault is his tactics in the European games that were played.
It's the fact he came out after a game a couple of months ago. I can't remember who it was against. I think it was a European game when he changed to 3 at the back and then changed back again.
Yeah.
No, 5 at the back when you're defending, then changed back again. He said, "Look, you went into the game with 4 or 5 different systems that we knew we could change to. You wouldn't have got that under the previous management."
No.
I mean, I think to answer your question, Gary, I think if Steven Gerrard was still here, we wouldn't be in a European final, but I think we'd probably win the league again.
Yeah, I'd agree exactly with what Will just said.
But we wouldn't have got this far in Europe, I don't think. But it's all speculation. You don't know.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know the answer. But I mean, the fact that Van Bronckhorst going into games and the players know that, okay, they've maybe not had a lot of pitch time on the training pitch, but they've doing loads of classroom stuff and loads of probably Zoom stuff and then at home and that, so they know the different formations. And you know, if this happens, we can drop this in, and if he comes on, we can do this. And you can go from 5 at the back to 3 at the back to 2 centre backs with the wing backs pushing up or the wing back sitting in, and it seems to work seamlessly. You didn't get that under Gerrard. As Stuart said, he didn't seem to change the formation very much, irrespective of how the game was going.
Yeah.
What
I
was
like
your
to go
opinion?
back to the old presentation slides rather than an iPad.
Yeah.
Aye. What would your opinion be, John? Do you?
I think Gio's. I think the difference between him and Steven Gerrard is that presented with what he's got now, like i.e. no strikers, key players out injured, Hadji going out for the season, Hollander out. He's a type of coach who just looks and go, okay, this is what I've got. What can I do with this? Whereas Gerrard kind of, to me, all his changes were like for like.
Yeah.
You know, it would take, say, let's say he takes off Joe Aribo, puts on Scott Arthur. He puts on a similar player all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the games, I'm not being critical of Steven Gerrard because I loved his work, loved what he'd done for the club. He basically dragged us back up the way. And I just think that he didn't gamble a lot. Everything was just sort of take him out, put him in, keep everything the same, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I seen a great picture of the day. It was obviously somebody had done it, but it was Gio with Pep Guardiola, and it's Pep saying to Gio, "Tell me how to qualify for a final without a number 9." You know, obviously, I've got Paul McGargle saying, I was just about to bring this up. Paul McGargle, where is the question? Has said, oh, sorry. How about Goldson? Thought he was brilliant. What was your views on Connor Goldson last night? Considering the guy's coming out of contract and we don't know whether he's going to stay, what was your thoughts, Stuart, on Connor Goldson?
Goldson did what Goldson does. He defended well. He was aware. Some of the balls he put down the channels were just absolutely on point. And when Goldson's in the mood like that, he can, and I've said this many a time on the pod this season, when he's in the mood for that, he can deliver that 50, 60-yard ball and land it on a 6-foot. His reaction at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I've got a 6 keg instead of a 6-pack like he's got. But his reaction at the end of the game, the way he was shouting and roaring and celebrating, boom, I think he really, really gets it now.
Yeah.
And the change under from having he wasn't having the greatest first half of the season. Because of all the speculation with contracts and all that kind of thing. But since Gio came in, and especially the last 3 months, he has shown a confidence, and I actually think there's going to be a contract twist. I think there's going to be. I think he's going to be here for another couple of years. I really do.
Wolf, your thoughts?
Played well. He always plays well. Never ever lets us down. Yeah. Connor never lets us down. The contract thing, it's I'm a bit conflicted about it because I've had it suggested to me that he's waiting to see what happens, and if we win the Europa League and it's Champions League football, he'll sign a contract. Well, if he wants to stay at Rangers simply for that reason, he can go now because we're bigger than that. You know, but if he genuinely wants to stay at the club and he's keeping the contract on the back burner until the season's finished, then that's great. True professionalism, fantastic. Because there's been no speculation about him at all. There's been nothing. It's not his agent says this or this one says that. There's been nothing about him at all.
Yeah.
So he's maybe keeping it very professional. The thing that worries me, Gary, is it might be another Soteria Kyrgiakos fucking situation where with Kyrgiakos on loan, and he said, "Don't want to stay here," but nobody else signed him. Yeah. So we signed him because nobody else would take him. So was Goldson still here because nobody wanted him in January? Is that, is he priced himself out of the market and nobody will sign him, so we end up being stuck with him, so to speak?
But maybe we look the other way and think, you're saying, Wolf, there about, well, if he's only staying because of Champions League football, it can go. Fair enough. But is the club saying to him, yes, Connor, if we qualify for the Champions League, we can afford to pay you that extra bit that you put you on the same money as whatever? Is it the club?
Can he afford to take that gamble? Has he got other deals on the table? We don't know that. He might say, yeah, I want to stay here, but this is the money I want. And if you're giving me that, if we get in the Champions League, then if we win the Europa League, fantastic, I'll do that. But if we lose the final, has he got a fallback plan? Has he got somebody sitting in the wing saying, we don't know that. I would think it's a big risk for Goldson to take.
Nottingham Forest want him.
But we also said earlier on an earlier podcast, if he gave us what we wanted, and the Europa League wasn't in the horizon at that time, but if he helped deliver the league 56, I think we all said we would take it. Now we're on the flip side. We've got a chance at a Europa League. If he delivers that, if he helps deliver that, by God, he can move to whoever he wants or stay with us. That's just my genuine opinion.
Sure, even if we go on to lose to Frankfurt, right? Connor Goldson can go with my blessing because he's done a great job for us. He's done a great job for us.
Totally agree. He delivered.
I just wish if he was going to stay, he'd let us know he was going to stay because he's a tremendous player, and we won't realise how good Connor Goldson is till Connor Goldson ain't here. Because it will take two centre halves to replace him because the guy's indestructible. He never misses a game. I mean, centre back is very
something to do with the board. It's a board that's hiding all this.
That's unheard of.
I just think that if he's looking for extra money, right, depending on what the extra money is, how much is it going to cost us to replace him?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And unless we've got somebody lined up on a Bosman or, I just think, I know the club went through all the financial difficulties and all that stuff, and we've come back and we've said, right, this is all we're going to pay players. There's got to come a point where you've got to pay that bit extra, I think, to get the extra bit of quality in. We're going to go forward, Goldson still worries me a little bit, like, i.e. the goal last night, fell asleep at the goal. Him and Balogun never picked the guy up. Boys in between two of them, two centre backs, and both of them are watching him stick the ball in the net. But his overall game, apart from that, he's one or two lapses, and sometimes it's costly. But I think that's just defenders in general. I think every defender's got a mistake in him, no matter how good you are. I don't think there's a defender in the world that doesn't make mistakes. But certainly, it'll cost us a lot of money to replace his quality and what he brings to the club.
Yeah. So obviously, is Balogun out of contract as well, or is he getting another year?
His contract's up, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
He's been offered another year, or he did in January, and he was mulling it over.
Right. Okay. Right. I don't know about you last night, but I thought the referee had a shocker last night.
He was terrible, dreadful.
Well,
I heard on a radio station that and they're phoning that this referee, and this was before the game, He had something ridiculous like 148 red cards, 8 yellow cards he dished out in 24 games.
Yep.
And
I mean, Nick, that Connor Goldson booking was never a booking.
That wasn't even a foul. For me, that wasn't even a foul. I haven't seen it back, but for me, that wasn't even a foul. And then their guy that eventually got booked, the guy with the kind of blonde bit at the top of his head.
Sent off twice.
Yeah.
He could have been booked 4 times. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, like somebody emptied Ryan Kent just after the Goldson one, and it was just a free kick. That was a yellow, but the referee was atrocious. I thought.
Very inconsistent.
I thought he was awful. It seemed to be all about him because a lot of the time at set pieces he was getting in and he was talking to players for no apparent reason, and he just seemed to make it all about him. But
Yeah, okay. Graham McCallum, good question. Graham, what's the panel's guesstimate on how much the Europa League run has made the club? I'm going to have to ask Wolf because Wolf will know the answer to this, but I don't know what the money situation is.
I do actually. I heard it today on another podcast. And I'm trying to think. There's plenty of room for Rangers podcast. Don't worry, there's plenty of room for all the different podcasts. I'm trying to think. I think we got 4 million just for getting to the semi-final.
Yeah.
Or was it 3 million for getting to the semi-final? We get 4 million for playing in the final. We get another 5 million if we win the final. We then get guaranteed 3.5 million for the Super Cup, which is in Helsinki against Liverpool or Real Madrid. So that'd be good. And then obviously if we win it, we've also got the £17 million Champions League money guaranteed before you kick a ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the run so far has brought in something like, in prize money, something like 14 or 15 million euros. And on top of that, you've got TV revenue, you've got ticket money, which you're talking about. Well, the game last night would have been £2.5 million ticket money at 50 quid a ticket. You know what I mean? Okay, you get expenses that for that, but it's a lot of money they've made. This run has made an absolute fortune for Rangers. And it must have made them a fortune because it's cost me a fucking fortune.
Wolf, it's been worth every penny, mate, hasn't it?
It certainly will be if we're running about Seville with a trophy in one hand.
And then booking for Helsinki.
Absolutely. I've already looked at flights.
Something that nobody's asked this question, but I'm going to say, and I've seen a few things on social media today. Should James Tavernier be added to the Rangers Hall of Fame?
Yes. My opinion, yes.
It's been with us since what?
Tell me another club in the world that their right back's a poacher in the box. Absolute poacher. That goal last night. I mean, he scored the almost identical goal against Braga coming into the back post.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding. You know,
he's the leading scorer
in the Golden Boot winner
in Europe League, and he's a right back.
Yeah, because I read somewhere saying that there's a Frankfurt player 3 goals behind him, so it would take him to get a hat trick in the final to beat Tavernier for the goal scoring.
No,
my money will still be on Tav to score in the final.
Yeah.
What's that?
My money will still be on Tav to score in the final.
Tav will score in the final.
Yeah, I think so as well.
So I mean, Nick, some people say he's not a Rangers legend, but a guy's been with us since from what division? Came up right through to the Europa League final.
Second division.
Wolf, would you install James Tavernier to the Rangers Hall of Fame?
Not while he's still playing for us. I would never. I mean, I know it's happening.
I'm the same as you. He's got to finish playing.
Once he's finished playing, not just playing for us, he has to have retired. Because you can't have a player that's in your Hall of Fame coming back and playing against you. You can't have that. That would be ridiculous. But yes, I think in the fullness of time, I mean, the way I am with him just now, and I've criticised him a lot over the years, I hope he stays long enough to qualify for a testimonial.
Yeah.
And you don't get testimonials a lot these days because players don't stay 10 years at a club. I hope he stays long enough to get a testimonial.
Yeah.
Because it'll benefit us as well because he's a hell of a good player and he's proved how good a captain he is. His captaincy skills have been criticised, but he's proved how good a captain he is.
Well, I mean, I've been very critical of him the way his captaincy skills, but I mean, like, I take it all back. I mean, for a guy to be there from second division, did you say, Stuart?
Yeah, second division.
Right up to a Europa League final. You know, I'll just put this up here. Mr. Tommy Boy on YouTube says, James Tavernier is now a Rangers legend. He has led the team to a European final top scorer in the Europa League, and his conduct as a captain, now a Rangers legend.
Gary, that doesn't even become a question. If this team win a week on Wednesday in Seville, every single log will go into the Hall of Fame. So it's not a question. They'll all end up. They'll all go into the Hall of Fame, the same as the Barca Bears did.
Yeah. Okay, right. So obviously we're moving on. We got Dundee United on Sunday. Wolf, obviously you'll be going as usual.
You going, Wolf?
What are we seeing Sunday then as in team selection?
Depends.
It depends what they do on Saturday.
Yeah, I know, but well, I know it depends what they. But forget them. Let's say they draw. So what way does that change, James?
Stephen Davis will play on Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you think Davis and Arfield will play? You think
Yes.
Scotty Arfield will start the game?
Yeah, I think it's a good game.
Joe Rebo won't play now.
Joe Rebo. Pull him out.
I mean, this sounds thing. When are we going to start giving Goldson and Tavernier a rest?
They don't want rest. I think there's been games with. I believe there's been games where the management team, whether it's the current one or the last one, said, "Fancy the day off. It's only whoever in the cup now. We'd rather be playing."
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what they want, if they do better constantly playing, just let them keep playing every day.
It's work.
If that's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, will we see Sands coming in the weekend?
Possibly.
Maybe a centre half.
No, I think Sands might play midfield.
I think Balogun might play because Balogun needs game time as well. Because you've also got to remember you're going to need to play Balogun game time. You'll need to play them because you might just need them. Come these 2 cup finals we've got coming up, because we've got 2 cup finals in 3 days. You might just need some of these players.
Is Balogun not suspended?
No, he must have Celtic game. He must have Celtic game.
He was suspended on Sunday. He's back available.
Yeah.
So are we going to? Would you think it'll be McGregor and Nets, or will he go with McLaughlin?
No, I think McLaughlin will be in.
Yep.
Or will it go with
Andy Firth?
Andy Firth. Well, that flag last night for Union Bears. Did you see it on the pitch? Andy Firth.
Yeah.
Andy Firth's got the best contract going. What's it? Must be at Rangers 4 years now. You know? 4 years, and he's just legendary. Changes, but I mean, he was Scott. Do you think Kent will play?
No. He might.
Sakala?
He might leave the changes for Ross till Wednesday against Ross County.
Yeah.
Ross County, he might rest half of them tomorrow, half of them Sunday, half of them Wednesday. He might completely change the team on Wednesday. You just don't know what he's going to do.
Sakala?
Yeah, he'll be involved. He'll get a good part.
I expect Roof to start on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think Roof will start on Sunday. Yeah.
Ramsey?
I heard he was quite close to being fit.
Will he play Ramsey, or is he going to try and protect Ramsey right to the final?
Ramsey will play at some point
on Sunday.
He might not start. I don't know if he'll start, but I think you'll definitely see him.
Yeah, I think he might come on as a cameo appearance towards maybe 10-15 minutes towards the end.
Right, okay. As we always finish, lads, we'll go with predictions for Sunday. I'm going to go to John McKinnon first.
3-1 Rangers.
Okay.
What's that?
Goal scorer. First goal scorer.
First goal scorer, Scott Wright.
Ooh.
Right. Wolf Marshall, prediction?
2-0 Rangers. First goal scorer, Connor Goldson.
Stuart Finlay.
I'm going to go with John 3-1 Rangers. And I actually think Leon King will start. I think Leon King will score.
Okay. Well, fair play, all right. Well, I'm going to go Rangers 4-0. James Tavernier, first goal. It has to be a penalty early doors for us, you know. It has to happen.
Would you a penalty?
Would you a penalty?
Yeah, we haven't had one for a couple of weeks.
We haven't had one, aye. So, anyway, guys, that was good. Thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully, we're back on next Friday again. Wolf, you enjoy the game on Sunday. Hey, Wolf, you should just move to Glasgow, mate.
It has been suggested. It has been suggested.
Darren's just sent a message to the group chat. Said, for fuck's sake, 5 more minutes, loyal.
Mr. Hosey's had too much whiskey again. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for coming on, and I'll speak to you after, all right?
You're welcome.
Cheers. Cheers, Gary.
Mate, guys.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Cheers.
All right, bye. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed it. That's the end of the podcast for tonight. Obviously, we're all on a high. Rangers are through to the Europa League Final in Seville, and we've also got a matter of a Scottish Cup final as well. Hopefully you join us next Friday night again. If you're on the Facebook page, please like and share this. Give us a thumbs up. If you're on Twitter, hit the retweet and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, folks, thanks very much and good night.